Good evening. Time to dig out your 1157.
Or maybe get your gone 1157.
Yep. Buy some stout boots.
Dig your crisp packet waterproofs out the garage. Stay tuned for more discussion.
Good evening, fine folk. I'm former British Army Corporal Cliff Purvis.
I'm former British Army Warrant Officer Russ. Welcome to this 34th episode of the Recce Report. And I'm sorry for mucking up your intro there, Cliff. As I've just said, I'm former warrant officer, so I'm really bad at following instructions from senior corporals. It goes with the job description, mate. I'm really sorry.
Oh, it does. It's just like being back in the green, mate. Just be like being back in the green. Okay, good evening, folks. And as Russ has so plainly said there, welcome to the 34th edition of the Recce Report. And as always, it's an absolute pleasure to get invited on and have a chat with you fine folks. Now, unfortunately, there still is only one news item, and it does sadly affect everybody, and it kind of overshadows the drive for independence at the moment, because we have got one person on this planet that is seriously attempting with his cronies to knock up stability. And for once, I'm not referring to Putin. Russ, you want to guess on who that's going to be?
I don't know, mate. Does he have really bad orange makeup and a terrible hairstyle?
That's the chap. Hey, yeah. I didn't think it would be possible for anybody to have a worse complexion than me and a worse haircut than me. But hey, the good old President of the United States of America has managed to do that. Not only that, but his style. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Style. Yeah, his style is creeping on to his cabinet. Obviously, he's picked yes people. Anybody with any moral spine at all wouldn't have gotten onto the short list, let alone into his cabinet. But yes, his vice president came out with a horrendous comment on the 4th of March there. So bad was the comment that Hamish Morrison over at the National actually emailed me in my capacity as a veteran for Scottish independence to see if I had a comment on it. So if any's read the National on the 5th, you would have seen a wee comment in there from myself about what I thought Vance's comments were like. Now, Russ, you've got a little bit of knowledge on what this guy's war experience is, haven't you?
Yeah. So just to go back to your comment in the National, if you follow us on Blue Sky and scroll through the timeline, you see that I linked to the comments that Cliff made. And it was really, really good. So the Vice President J.D. Vance did actually serve. He was a Marine, I believe, who served in was it Iraq as a combat correspondent. So for those of you that have seen Full Metal Jacket, you'll know what a combat correspondent was, which means that although he wasn't in the shit, he wrote some articles and took some pictures, is what he did, reaching the dizzy heights of corporal.
Hey, no wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with being a corporal, mate. Absolutely not. But it's now claiming, what was it? What can Europe offer? They've not been in a war for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm fucking sure I've got pictures of me in Afghanistan. And that wasn't over 40 years ago, unless I've got really old and the dementia's kicking in.
Yeah.
And as you pointed out, mate, the NATO mutual defence section, NATO Article 5, NATO Article 5 has only ever been invoked once in the history of NATO. Can anyone guess when that once was?
Nothing coming up. Yeah.
Nothing came up.
Yeah. It was indeed immediately after the terrorist attacks on the Twin Towers and the Pentagon in the United States. and all America's NATO allies rallied round America to neutralize and suppress the terrorists. Oh, well done, Evelyn. Get in there, Evelyn. She's come up with 9/11.
Yeah, she got there. Yeah.
I need to give her more. Time.
There.
Well done.
Good. Yeah. Well done.
So for Vance to turn round and say that we haven't been to war in 40 years, to my mind, I was fizzing, absolutely fizzing.
Honestly, and as we discussed the other day, France, who sent troops to Afghanistan, weren't even in NATO at the time.
Yeah.
They've since rejoined, but at the time that they went to Afghanistan, they weren't even in NATO.
Yeah, it's just another example of what that administration across the pond is like these days. You've got the ambush of the Ukrainian president in the Oval Office was absolutely horrendous to watch when Vance was trying to tell him what to do.
But it's backfired on him, isn't it? Because what it's done is it's riled up everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you really can't do that.
Yeah.
They've seen. I mean, I'd hate to say this, but Trump during his first term was less damaging, because at that point he was just being a dick to the American people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say it. And now he's set his sights on Canada and Mexico, and Greenland and the Panama Canal, and renaming the Gulf of Mexico like anybody gives a shit. Yeah, people are still going to call it the Gulf of Mexico. But and I was saying to you earlier, the problem is not with Trump. We knew what Trump was like.
Yeah.
If you didn't know what Trump was like, you're not paying attention. It's the fact that so many people are falling over themselves to blow smoke up his arse.
Yes. Yeah. And it's getting back to it, how could people possibly support Hitler?
Yeah. I put a picture up on Blue Sky a few weeks ago, and it basically said on there, this is the point in the history books where people ask, why didn't someone do something?
Yeah.
And we're really at that point. We're at that. People are laughing at him, but people were laughing at Hitler initially, this funny wee man with his strange hairstyle, an erratic way of speaking. They thought he was going to go away, but people are listening to him. There's just so many crap. And you said about Zelensky. The issue I've got now with that is that I'm seeing people that I used to respect on the pro-independence side,
right,
actually now parroting Russian propaganda with regards to Ukraine.
Yeah, and it's sad. I actually kicked a guy off our veterans page on Facebook through the week there for doing exactly that. It wasn't a conversation the guy was having. It was just he was trying to get over the Russian the Russian propaganda, and it is all Russian propaganda. Okay, Ukraine prior to Zelensky getting in was probably one of the most corrupt countries in Europe, next to Russia, but it had been heavily undermined or heavily destabilized by Putin and his cronies.
Yeah,
and Putin.
If you want an example of how corrupt Ukraine was before the election of Zelensky, just look at Belarus, which is currently got a Russian puppet in charge.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one anti-Putin leader that Putin hasn't been able to kill or destroy or maim. I mean, look what he did to the former Georgian president who was pro-Western. The poor guy, if alive, his skin is blue with the chemical attack. Yeah. Putin is a horrible, nasty individual. Let's not forget what this guy has done. Every single person that's come against Putin has ended up dead. Thrown out of windows, blown out the sky in mid-flight, poisoned, nerve agent attacks on the streets of UK cities. And we still have idiots in the UK that seem to think they can support Putin. Well, if you want to support Putin that badly, go over and join his army and see what it's like there. Then you'll get a real grip of what's going on. He is so desperate. He's called in North Korean conscripts to fight in his armed forces. He's called in help from an equally despotic regime in Iran, for the drone technology. And the one thing he has never called this is a war. This is a limited police action or military action, is what he's called it. But his tank force, such as it is, has been absolutely decimated. Where's the much vaunted, I should say, Air Force it has? Where's that gone? Why is that not in the skies?
Yeah, it's and that's the thing. And you've got people like Trump saying, "Well, you know, away to peace is you stop fighting. Russia keeps what they've got. We'll take half of your mineral rights and sell them off to the highest bidder, which, let's be fair, has been American foreign policy for quite some time.
Yeah.
And you'll just stop dying." And as Zelensky pointed out, Putin's broken 22 ceasefire deals and in recent history with Ukraine. What makes you think he's going to stop there?
Yeah.
And we spoke about this. Putin seems to have an ideological drive to rebuild the USSR.
Yeah, that's what he's all about.
And he's not going to stop with Ukraine.
Nope.
Which is why the polls are looking shaky. Not the electoral polls. Polls as in people from Poland.
Yeah. The whole thing with Trump has apparent slowdown or withdrawal of support from NATO. I mean, he himself can't leave NATO. That's got to be a 2/3 majority in the Senate to achieve that. But he can certainly make it difficult for anybody within the American military to react within NATO. But France has stepped forward now and offered, or going to be offering, they've got 290 nuclear warheads. And I still think nuclear warheads are abysmal and should never be there, but the genie's out the bottle on that one. And if the only thing that's going to make Putin pause is the fact that France has now offered protection to fellow European countries, didn't mention the word NATO, fellow European countries with their 290 warheads that are completely independent of the US. Then that might help. But we need France, we need Germany to step up to the mark. You know, people start going on about the First World War, Second World War. That's a long time ago. You know, that is a long time ago. We need Germany now to start up to take a lead along with France to strengthen the military support, because we've tried appeasement. We tried appeasement in 1938. It did not work. Yeah, these people don't. They'll sit and have a lovely conversation with you, make you a lovely cup of tea, and then stab you in the back as soon as you walk away.
Yeah, and we're finding out now, aren't we, that the UK independent nuclear deterrent isn't as independent as people thought it was, because the Americans can flick a switch and just turn it off. With a lot of the hardware that they've sold as well. Then you've got Elon Musk threatening to turn off the Starlink satellites in Ukraine. This is beyond a joke. This is not posturing. This is dangerous stuff. It absolutely really is. And I think Evelyn's put a good point. They should Starmer better nail his flag to the right pole. The US cannot now be trusted. I think he's going to be diplomatic about it and say the words that we're the trusted allies. But a lot of countries now are saying, why would we buy American arms and equipment if the Americans can withhold, or because it's all run by software now. If the Americans have a kill switch for the software, you cannot do it.
There was an interesting article that I read this morning. It was about the Canadian F-35s.
Yeah.
And
Canadian Prime Minister.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
And he's already he's hit the ground running. Yeah. I like it. I like the charter that's coming out of him. I also like the charter that's coming out of I think it's Ontario the Prime Minister, State Prime Minister there, saying, "Yeah, we'll cut off the electricity to the US.
Yeah.
No problem."
Just turn off, mate. They've already cleared that. I seen something the other day. It was an American guy. He's saying that the Canadians have cleared their store shelves of American alcohol, that they've already paid for. And I don't think you quite understand how sailor return works, mate.
Yeah.
They only pay for it if they sell it.
Yeah. And that was actually mentioned in an article I wrote, seen as well. Was it the Tennessee whiskey or whatever is being returned to them, and it's going to cripple them. Yeah. Unfortunately, the people in America that's going to get affected by Trump are not the people that hang about with Trump. They're far too insulated. They're far too wealthy.
Not the people that hang about with him, but I'll tell you who will be affected: the people that voted for him.
Yeah, but he'll blame outside agencies and the gullible amongst those that voted for him.
Well,
believe that.
It's not, mate, because I can't remember what it was, but one of the red states is like their main source of employment is the federal government.
Yeah,
and then Elon Musk has taken a sledgehammer, and people are losing their jobs hand over fist. And now they're like, oh, poor me, and it's the whole, lepers eating people's faces party thing, isn't it? I never thought they'd eat my face.
They always promised me the world, and now look at it.
Yeah. I've got no sympathy with these people because they were told. Yeah. But that's the issue. The politics is just so tribal now, and we're seeing it in this country.
Yeah.
The whole question time thing. The right wing, the Reform Party, the Nigel Farage, the UKIP Light, whatever they're branding themselves this week, being broadcast again. And again, they're given that airtime. And as someone pointed out, and we'll come to that, that Reform now have exactly the same number of MPs as the Greens. Are we going to see a Green MP on Question Time every other week now? No, of course we won't. No. It'll be Reform. It'll be some prick from the Daily Mail, some independent from the Taxpayers Alliance. Who are just Tories, and then you'll have the token Labourite or the token SNP or the token Green, every couple of months. Yeah, this is how propaganda works.
Yeah, because at this moment in time, we have got this big hoo-ha going on in the Reform Party. Where they've kicked out a guy or withdrawn a whip from one of their people.
Rupert Lowe.
Yeah, Robert Lowe, that's the chap. Thank you.
Is it Rupert Lowe? Robert Lowe? It's definitely Lowe.
Yeah. It would have to be pretty low to be in the Reform to begin with. Yeah, Rupert Lowe, there he goes, backbencher, stripped of the party whip amid an internal investigation of bullying complaints made against him by two female members of staff.
Yeah.
Right? Sounds pretty bad, and let's get them investigated because that's what needs to be happened. But as you pointed out, Russ, how long have the Reform Party known about these allegations?
Well, allegedly, I don't want to leave myself open here, but allegedly the Reform have known about these allegations for about 4 months, and the comments that have been made on social media they've only been brought to light because Rupert Lowe had the audacity to criticise Nigel Farage. Very recently.
Yeah, I've just reading a bit here. Lowe has been perceived to be at odds with Farage after getting the backing of Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Well, that should sound alarm bells.
Yeah.
After the party leader, Farage, refused to back triple name, what's his name? Yatesley. Stephen
Yaxley Lennon.
That's the chap.
Tommy Ten Names.
Yeah. So are Reform going to implode? No, of course they won't implode altogether because their propaganda machine will hide everything up, and the way they are treated by the media will cover everything.
And that's something. They've got 4 MPs. I think they've got 9 out of 1,300 councillors in the country. Mm-hmm. They're not massive, but But then UKIP was never massive. They were just bigged up by the media, and that was the selling point. And you see the people go there. The best thing, the thing was, I've seen it where they had two Scottish Tories defected to Reform,
right?
And they were asking whoever the guy, I don't know the names, all the bloody same, is it Tice? I asked him what their names were, and he didn't know their names, didn't know the names of his two newest elected officials.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, mate. They don't know, they don't care.
No.
It's all about getting in there. And we need to stop normalising it. I say we, the people with the levers of power, and that's the problem. Yes, we can vote. And we had this discussion as well. The beauty of propaganda, if done properly, is that you don't see it. Right? It's done by the algorithm. When you're viewing social media, it starts drip feeding you, the anti-immigrant, homophobia, anti-trans shit, and then you think you've come to that yourself. And you need to fact check, and the thing you need to fact check most is the thing that you want to believe.
Yeah, that was a marvelous statement by you the other night, actually. Yeah. Please explain it, because you do it so a good effect.
Yeah. So we're really good at fact checking the claims of people we disagree with. So when the right wing comes out and they say, like it's happened a few times. There was a thing recently where was it Germany or whatever, where the guy drove into the crowd.
Yes.
And somebody immediately pushed out, it was a 20-year-old, Afghan immigrant, and it turned out to be a 40-year-old right-wing German guy who was white. We're really good at fact checking stuff like that. What we're really bad at fact checking is the stuff we want to agree with. So if they come out and say the polls show Scottish independence at 90%, you're like, yes. Now, do I just blindly repost that and like it for a minute? No, I dig into it and say, well, where does that come from? And then you find out it's been, some roaster from Dumfries that's done a 2-person poll, and somebody's picked it up and stuck it on a blog somewhere. So question everything.
Yeah.
Just because you want to believe it doesn't make it true. And that's how propaganda works. They drip feed it into you. You get the algorithm, you watch something. And there's a danger, I think, because I used to be of the view that I'm going to look at what the other side are saying so that I can understand it. But what that does is that prompts the algorithm on YouTube, on Twitter, on whatever, to start showing me more of that shit.
Yeah.
So because that's all I'm seeing now, I think that's all there is.
Yeah.
And you never see the other side, and it just and it polarizes. Sorry, I've gone in a bit of a rant there. So
no, it needs to be done, because we're now entering into an era where we need to do this, folks. I myself, from my own experience, have gotten into one or two more spates with people on this who support independence, because I fail to toe their line on what they believe to be the truth, because I've gone away and checked on something and it's simply not true. Or it might have a grain of truth and they've greatly exploded it. And I'm afraid I won't take that. We need, if independence is going to get done, we have to convince those voters honestly. They need to know what they're walking into, right, or what they're voting for. And we have to do that in an honest manner. And we, as veterans, we've got a heck of I won't say mountain to climb, but we've got a very, very capable audience that we broadcast to, who are naturally,
cynical by nature.
Yeah, they're cynical by nature, and thanks for helping us out there. And so we may be one of the groups that are more prone to doing this, but everybody needs to do it. If you see something that sounds fantastic, do some background checks on it.
And I'll give you a simple example. If you don't think that you can be susceptible to propaganda ask yourself why companies spend millions on advertising.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you couldn't be influenced by things you were told and seen, it would be a waste of money them pushing out adverts and political messages and things like that to get you to think a certain way, buy a certain thing, adopt a certain viewpoint. We know it works. We know it works. I'm a psychologist by trade. I know it works. And there's people that do the same job as me that advise political parties and advertising companies and places like that. We get paid handsomely to do it. I don't get paid handsomely, incidentally. Just these people that sell out to do this stuff. Propaganda, influencing how people think and act. That's a big part, and politicians are all over it. You only have to look at Putin, the message Putin sends out, to see that that people buy into it, or at least he makes it look like people are buying into it.
Yeah. It's we've got to do it, folks. We just have to be on our toes on this one. We have to start being on our toes. We've only got where's my calendar? Where are we? Oh heck! All right, we have got 423 days left until the polls open at the next Scottish parliamentary elections, and that's how long or short time we have got to start convincing people.
Yeah, but we also have to ask if there's still going to be a UK and a Europe in 426 days.
Of course there will be, Russ. Of course there will be.
The lights
are not quite going out yet, buddy.
We could be the 52nd state by then, mate, after Canada.
Yes. No, Greenland's 52nd. I think we'll be 50, and then Mexico, then Panama. And then
I don't know. As someone pointed out, even if America did annex Canada, which clearly is ludicrous, they wouldn't make it a state. They wouldn't make it a state because they'd have so many electoral votes that no Republican would ever get elected again. And I think that's a really good point. So it'd be like Puerto Rico, where they're kind of part of the US, but not really.
Yeah. They have got, I think, they're observing rights in the Senate.
Yeah.
But they don't elect anybody to the Senate or something along that line.
It's
all, it's as you said the other week there, Russ. It's all, look at my hand, look at the other hand.
Yeah. It's scary times we live in. And I know people draw comparisons to 1930s Germany. The scary thing is that we are so more technologically advanced and more well informed now than people were in 1930s Germany. So there's no excuse. Which is why it saddens me to see people parroting Russian propaganda and refusing vaccines and flat earthers and all these idiots you get on the place. We're smarter than that. We're in Scotland. We have a smarter, more educated electorate. Yes, there'll always be numpties, but we must be vigilant against them because they're out there and they multiply, they procreate. You need to keep an eye on them. We need to keep an eye on them because you're seeing what happens in America with a rush to the bottom. You end up with a reality TV idiot basically threatening his closest allies to suck up to a dictator. Again, I got on a bit of rant, sorry.
No, you're allowed to do these things, buddy. This is what we do. Now, we are, by my shiny watchy thingy, we are about, 1 minute out, bud?
We are. We're coming to the end. Apologies, we could have ranted for about another few hours on that, mate. I'm not sure we'd cover any new ground other than to just acknowledge this is a shite state of affairs.
Mr. E has come out with a lovely statement there from the book 1984.
I don't know what you're talking about, mate. We've always been at war with East Asia.
Yeah. Where have you been? Righty. Okay, folks, we are rapidly coming to the end of the show. Russ, up to you.
It is. It's that time. Folks, thank you so much once again. It's always an honor and a privilege to spend time just talking banalities and getting your view on things. The comments are always really, really welcome. Please, yes, keep it up. We will see you again on the second Monday of next month.
Yes.
So, final word, Cliff?
Yeah, folks, let's keep the faith. Yeah, like I said, we are rattling towards our next elections, and we will be there to vote that day. Right. And remember, independence is so right. Yeah, our future is going to be so bright with it. So see you next month, folks. Bye.
So, Alba, take care, folks. Bye-bye.